my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today I have got a really great, easy, lovely lacy stitch for you. This is the Lacy Chevron stitch. And you can make this as wide or as narrow as you want to. I did a whole blanket. And for this particular piece, I used Lion Brand ice cream in the colorway of Parfait, not sponsored, but absolutely love how simple this piece is. Once you get the initial setup done, it's a one row repeat. How easy is that? And the beautiful thing about this particular stitch is you're not working into stitches, you're working into stitch spaces. So it flies right by. And so for this, again, it was the ice cream yarn, so I used a size H crochet hook. For today's piece, I'm going to be using Red Heart Super Saver, not sponsored, with a size I crochet hook, which is a focus. Thank you. 5.5 millimeter hook, size I. And so we're going to do that for today. So let's get started, shall we? Alrighty. All right, so now to get started, I already did my base chain. What you're going to need to do is a multiple of 16 chains plus an additional 4 chains. I did a total of 52 because I wanted 3 multiples of 16 chains plus my additional 4 chains, and that will give us a nice swatch to work with. So you can make this piece as wide or as narrow as you want, whether it's a scarf, a wrap, a blanket for a baby, or an adult, what have you. So pause the video here, make up your multiple of 16 plus a 4 additional chain adding, and then we shall continue. All right. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm only going to do 3 repeats of the 16. You may want to practice this with a swatch first before doing a rather large project. Totally up to you. But pause now and we will get into row 1. Okie dokie. Alrighty, so for row 1, we're going to start by doing a double crochet into the 5th chain from the hook. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you could go into the back bump of the chain, the top bump or the back bump. For the sake of ease, I'm going to go into the top bump. Although if you're doing a nice blanket, I would suggest going into the back bump. It just looks a little bit nicer. So doing a double crochet into that 5th chain. Okay. Chain 1, skip the next chain, and double crochet into the next chain. We're going to do that twice. So we've got our double crochet in our chain 1, skipping that chain, going into the next with a double. Chain 1, skipping the next chain, going into that next one with a double, and chain 1. So we've got, not including this little end bit here, we've got 3 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces and a chain 1 at the end here. So skip another chain down below, and into this next chain, we need our increase, the top of one of our waves. So do a double crochet, chain 1, into that same stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet, chain 1, total of 4 times. And so now we're going to work our way down the other side. Alrighty. All right, so now to work our way down the other side, don't forget we have that chain 1 at the end of this increase. We're going to skip the next chain, going into the next one with a double crochet, then chain 1, skip the next chain, going to the next with a double, chain 1, and skip that next chain, going to the next with a double. So again, we have 3 double crochets here, and we've got 3 over here. Okay, so now we need the decrease. So without chaining 1, we're going to skip the next 3 chains at the bottom here. So that's 1, 2, and 3 into the next chain, double crochet with no chain 1 in between. Like so. So that's going to be the valley where that happens. So chain 1, skip a chain going into the next with a double. So it's all peaks and valleys. Chain 1, skip a chain going into the next. There we go. So again, we have our 3 doubles on this side. Okay, so chain 1, and now we need the peak again. Skip a chain going into the next with our 4 doubles separated by chain 1 spaces. So double crochet, chain 1, all into the same stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. So we've got our peak. Okay, chain 1. Now we've got to go down into the valley. So skip the next chain going to the next with a double. Chain 1, skip the next chain going to the next with a double. And one more. Chain 1, skip a chain going into the next with a double. Okay, so now we need another valley. So without chaining 1 here, skip the next 3 chains, 1, 2, and 3, going into the next with a double, like so. Chain 1, skip the next chain going to the next with a double, chain 1, skip the next chain going to the next with a double. All right, then we need another peak. So chain 1, skip the next chain going to the next with a double and a chain 1 4 times. So that's 2. And 3. And 4. All right, and we are almost at the end. All right, so when you've done your last peak and when you're going down towards the end, after doing your peak and doing your chain 1, going to skip that chain, going to the next chain with a double, chain 1, skip the next chain, going to the next with a double, chain 1, skip the next chain, going to the next with a double, and then, last but not least, going to finish off by skipping the next 2 chains and doing a double crochet into the very last chain. Alrighty, so that, my dears, is the end of the foundation for this stitch. And the reason why I wanted to do a total of 3 multiples of 16 is that it'll give you really a good idea as to the peaks and valleys of this stitch. Alrighty, so with that being said, let's go on to row 2. Alrighty, row 2, which is considerably easier than the foundation row because we're just going to be working into, like I said, stitch spaces. So that being said, I'm going to start by chaining up 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn the work. All right, so now we are going to be skipping these 2 first double crochets and this first chain 1 space right here. And into this next space, do a double crochet, like so. Now it looks a little bit weird initially, but it will make sense later, trust me. All right, so then we need, again, our 3 double crochets. So we've got 1, and we're chaining 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1. And so when we did our 4 double crochets, we end up with 3 spaces, right? Well, we went into the first one. Now this top one, that is going to be our peak, because we got peaks and valleys, like I said. So this is going to be our peak again. So into that middle space, we're going to do 4 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. So we've got 1, chain 1, and 2, chain 1, and 3, chain 1, and 4, chain 1, all into that space. Easy peasy. Okay, so then, after chaining 1 at the end here, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, double crochet into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and into the next space, another double crochet. Okay, so again, we've got 3 double crochets on this side. So now we've got another valley. So you see we have a chain 1 space, 2 double crochets, and another chain 1 space. We're going to skip over all 3, 1, 2, and 3 spaces, okay? And into the next space right here is our next double crochet. Again, this will seem a little bit awkward at first, but bear with me, trust me, it'll make sense as we go on. So with no chain 1 right here, going to go directly in with a double crochet into this space over on the other side. And you want this to be not death grip taut, but not loosey-goosey either, okay? You want that to be a nice firm stitch. Chain 1, double crochet into the next space, chain 1, double crochet into the next space. So that makes up our 3 double crochets on this side. Okay, and we've reached the peak again. So after chaining 1 into that middle space, 4 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. So I've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Got my 4 doubles, and I've got my chain 1 at the end. Next space, double crochet, chain 1, next space, double crochet, chain 1, and the next space, double crochet. We've got our 3 double crochets down this way, but don't chain 1 here because we have to go across the valley, skipping this space, and this space, going into the next space, excuse me, with another double crochet. Like so. Okay, and then chain 1, double crochet into the next space, chain 1, double crochet into the next space, chain 1, and we have another peak. So that's 4 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 with my chain 1 at the end there. Double crochet into the next space, chain 1, double into the next. Whoops, hello. As I was saying, double crochet into the next, chain 1, double crochet into the next. All right, so we've got our 3 doubles along this side. Now, there are 2 ways that you can go about doing this. You can either by the way, we're not doing a chain 1 at this point. You can either do a double crochet into the 4th chain from the bottom on this side, which would be going underneath both of these loops, like so, and doing your double crochet like so, which looks a little bit neater, but I did promise that you could go into just the chain spaces. So skipping this double and this double, just going into this last space here with your final double. That is an alternative that you can employ, which is what I do in this particular case. So it's sort of one of those do as I say, don't do as I do kind of things. Either way is fine. All right, so that is the end of row 2. And for row 3 will be the repeat for the rest of this piece. Isn't that lovely? And that's all you need to do for the rest of this piece, and we're going to do it together. Alrighty. Alrighty, row 3. Okay, so again, starting in by chaining up 3, just as we did previously. 1, 2, and 3. Turn the work. And again, we're going to skip the double, and the first space here. Going to do a double into the next space, like so. Chain 1, double crochet into the next space. Chain 1, double crochet into the next space, and chain 1. So we've got our 3 doubles. And we've reached the middle space for our peak. So that's 4 doubles separated by chain 1s. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the next 3 spaces are going to have doubles in them separated by chain 1 spaces. So that's double in the next space, chain 1, double in the next space, chain 1, and double in the next space. So we've got 3 doubles going down towards the valley. Again, do not chain 1 at this point. And we're going to skip the space, skip the space, skip the space, going into the next space with a double crochet. All right. Chain 1, double crochet into the next space, chain 1, double crochet into the next space. So again, we've got our 3 doubles. Don't forget to chain 1, and we've reached the peak. So into that chain 1 space, 4 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. So I've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, with my chain 1 at the end. All right, so now we need 3 doubles separated by chain 1 spaces. So into the next space, double crochet, chain 1, next space, double crochet, chain 1, and next space, double crochet, but no chain 1 because we have to cross over these 3 spaces. So that being said, skip, 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 and then into that next space with a double crochet, like so. Chain 1, double into the next space, chain 1, double into the next space, and we've got our 3 doubles, chain 1, and we reached the peak once again. So into that space, 4 doubles separated by chain 1 spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. So need to do 3 doubles on the way down. So that's double crochet into that next space, chain 1, double crochet into the next space, chain 1, double crochet into the next space, but do not chain 1. All right, so then, last but not least, going to skip these 2 double crochets and into this last space here, double crochet. Ta-da! All right, so this will be the edge of our blanket or scarf or what have you, as the case may be, just as this will. All right. And this is what you should have at this point. Now, with blocking, you could make these points really perk up quite a bit, but I like the natural look personally. So, that being said, that is all you need to do in order to make this really awesome sauce piece. But you know me, I love spending time with you guys, so we're going to do another row, another repeat, just because, follow along if you like, and let's get to it. Okay, row 4, or you could say this is row 3 again, whichever, but regardless, I like spending time with you guys, so I'm going to do it, gosh darn it. So we're going to start by chaining up 3, 1 and 2 and 3. Turn your work, if you please, and skipping the first 2 doubles and that first chain 1 space, going into the next with a double, chain 1, double into the next space, chain 1, double into the next space, chain 1, and we reached the peak. So into that space, 4 double crochets separated by chain 1 spaces. So as you can see, this piece, this particular pattern, really does fly once you get the hang of it. Okay, so I've got my 4 doubles separated by chain 1 spaces, chain 1, then 3 doubles on the way down. So into the next space, double, chain 1, double, chain 1, and then double, but no chain 1. Skip the next 3 spaces, going into that next space with a double. Oops, I lost you. There we go. And so we've bridged the gap, that valley, chain 1, double into the next space, chain 1, double into the next space. We've got our 3 doubles. Next up is another peak, so chain 1, into that space, 4 doubles separated by chain 1 spaces. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 doubles on the way down. So that's double and a chain 1, double, chain 1, and a double. But no chain 1 because we have to bridge the gap over this space, and this space. Into the next one, we do our double, like so. Chain 1, double into the next space, chain 1, double into the next space, and we've got our 3 again. Next up, after chaining 1, we have our peak. So double chain 1, double chain 1, 2 more times. Double chain 1 and double, whoop, chain 1. All right, so we've got our 4 doubles in the peak here, and we're almost done. Double crochet into the next space, chain 1, double crochet into the next space, chain 1, double crochet into the next space, no chain 1, just going to do a double crochet into the last space. Ta-da! How easy is that? It's lovely, it's lacy, and I love it. So very simple, and I hope you guys like it too. And if you do, and if you like this tutorial, please give it a little thumbs up button down below because I appreciate your appreciation as always. Means the world to me. And give this a try, definitely, because it is one of those projects that's great for the warmer seasons like spring or fall, or if you just want something, lacy to cover up with. Okay. And also, give a comment, hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, because I do try to post as often as I can, whether it's crocheting or knitting or audiobook narration, or please do visit my other YouTube channel, Fiber Spider Games, where I do video game playthrough and commentary. And also I do have an Etsy store, which I will have this blanket up there hopefully very soon. Just got to sew in some ends. And with that being said, I hope that you guys have a terrific day. And this is Mother's Day weekend, so I hope that you have a really great weekend. And happy Mother's Day to all of you, also included aunts and grandmothers. Happy Mother's Day to you too. All right, so until next time, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.